I support that 100%.
Tug along with the Sunday crew. Geeking out is what we do. Giggle on, it's gonna be great. Don't be late, let's celebrate. Science fiction on a screen so bright. Old classics and the new delights. The unapologetic geek will lead the way with facts and fun to fill your day. Discussing every detail, every frame, from the eerie to the loud and the tame. Giggle along with all that's great. Those Sunday vibes you can't debate. Tug along with the Sunday crew. Geeking out is what we do. Giggle on, it's gonna be great. Don't be late, let's celebrate.
Greetings and welcome back to Tug Chat. Go ahead, Dan.
Greetings from South Carolina.
And hello, wherever the hell I'm from.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where I am. Anyway, before we get started, before aliens land on Mars and start terraforming it, I did want to just on a personal note, I want to say well wishes and prayers to our friend of channel, Tim, the UFO man. I'm not going to go into any details. Just keep him in your thoughts and prayers, please. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, I will say hi to the people in the chat. I saw Sarah. I saw Gary Carpenter, John Orchard, who hit the like button. Thank you. I know there was other people here. Tracy's here. Yep. And Sarah, of course. Yeah. Okay. I will try, as always, to say hi to people as they come in. But you know me, I tend to forget that the chat exists because I'm terrible.
At some point during this live stream, I promise, I will turn my chat off.
Okay, cool. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to put the chat on the screen. Apparently that's a thing I can do. There it is. Now, since there's only the three of us, there's room over there. I'm not like covering anybody's face, so that's cool.
A little easier.
That might help. That might help me notice the chat. Okay, so we are going to continue our discussion of hard science fiction movies, and since Thrash wasn't here last week, it's okay if we repeat ourselves. I'm not going to be too picky about that. But I will say we don't need to talk about 2001 anymore. We spent like half an hour on it.
But Dave
and
will be upset.
Again, to define what hard science fiction means, generally speaking, and like I said last week, the internet can't even agree. So for the purposes of this video, it's any movie that has a scientific element that they try to get the science right in some way or another. It doesn't have to be like the whole movie gets everything right, because newsflash, that doesn't exist. There is no movie that gets it all right.
Marooned, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. Titanic got it right. A bunch of people got on the ship. It sank.
Yeah, that's not really fiction, is it? I mean,
that's more of a period piece.
Yeah.
Well, it's the movies that got it right.
It's like I was looking up lists of like hard science fiction, and Apollo 13 kept popping up. And I'm like, that's history. That's not science fiction.
and it's really funny you mentioned Titanic, because mega science guru Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson actually sent a critique. He figured out where the Titanic would have been when it sank, figured out what the star chart would have been at that time, and said to Cameron, that's not what the stars would have been like. Fix it. And he did. So even Titanic couldn't get the science right.
Oh, Lord.
For the record, there's a really cool YouTube channel that I've watched before. I think it's called White Star Lines or something like that. And it talks about the movie Titanic at length, about like what it gets right, what it gets wrong, historically speaking, not necessarily scientifically speaking.
And just for the record, I
find that kind of fascinating.
I was talking about the incredible movie called Space Titanic.
Space Titanic.
Yeah, on a big spaceship named Titanic that crashed. Never mind.
I apologize.
I'm pretty sure that's actually a book by Monty Python
I
alum
know. I'm sorry.
Michael Palin and Terry Jones and Terry Pratchett, I think.
I thought it was Terry Gilliam, but okay.
Terry Gilliam. You're right. It is Terry Gilliam. I knew it was one of the Monty Python
Hey,
guys.
I usually know what I'm referencing. Usually.
It's also a fun video game, but it's impossible because like the logic. It's one of those puzzle games where you have to use crazy logic to solve the puzzles, and the logic is so out there. There's no way you can figure it out. It's one of those games. Let's see. Okay, nobody new in the chat yet. But yes, John Orchard, think of Asimov. Asimov was actually a scientist first and a writer second. And even though a lot of Asimov goes into the science fantasy territory, he did try to get the science as right as he could. He just wasn't
dealing with the science based on the theory of the time, which has changed over the years. What they believed in the 1940s and 50s is a lot different than what it actually turned out to be and what they learned later. You have to realize they were basing what they were writing on their opinions of science at the time.
That's a really important point. Yeah.
There's an astoundingly piquant observation in, of all things, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Mac actually shows the evolution of science and how one science corrected the earlier one, who then in turn was corrected later on, and that science basically is like basically a train of different boxcars. It's not, and I'm like, and this is on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Honestly, one of the writers.
Hi, Indy.
One of the writers that always got stuff I think really spot on and always amazed me was Jules Verne, especially his stuff like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea with nuclear submarines and stuff. How did he know this in the 1800s and stuff?
Yeah, that's actually like the H.G. Wells versus Jules Verne is very much the soft sci-fi versus hard sci-fi approach. Yeah.
Incarnate.
Yeah, basically. Hey, John Orchard really likes my book. Thank you, John Orchard. This book? Thresh, you're missing out.
I have to have a prop. I did bring a couple.
I've got a whole bunch of them back here now because I had to order some new ones. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started on that note, because I do have a couple of movies on here that are older movies, and the science by today's standard would be way, way off, but they were trying to be accurate to the time, and I think that's really important. But since I was here last week, I'm not going to start. And since Dan was here last week, he's not going to start. Thrash, you are going to start.
And I'm so glad you did. I want to open with something, by the way. This one was actually a poser for me. Not that I am a poser, but I mean, it was a toughie for me. And it's because I subscribe to the Aldous theory that science fiction is no more written for scientists than ghost stories are written for ghosts.
I love that.
I truly like wacky, completely fantasy science fiction. That being said, there were some examples of excellent quality I did manage to find. And I'm going to start with this one. One, because I was just talking about it the other day. And two, I spelled it wrong. I spelled it silent running as if it was sci-fi. I spelled it SCI, lent running. That is so cute. I'm going to open with that. I'm going to open with silent running. And it's probably a thread that you probably mentioned last week.
I don't think we did, actually.
Well, just the idea, the science of eco sciences. Science of eco sciences, a risk of being redundant. And how, thanks to Asimov and other scientists who saw what could happen with a changing climate and overpopulation and the yadas and the bloodas, they were sort of ahead of the curve. Almost prophetic. And silent running was an amazing early example of that. The science isn't always right, but the idea of building biodomes, which are a thing, but putting them in space because there's no room left on Earth. Spoiler alert, the idea that they would then try to shut it down because they make more money on commercial projects. That's the science of economics, and God knows they got that right. And even the robotics, we're still not there yet, but Huey, Dewey, and Louie, the technology for both the abilities and the artificial intelligence is coming right along. And of course, they were the precursor to R2-D2. So I had to read them into the record. And Bruce Dern, it's basically a one-man show. There were a couple of other characters in the beginning. He talks to some people on the radio, and Huey, Dewey, and Louie are, in fact, characters. But he basically does the entire movie almost alone. And his last speech, which I'm not going to say, but it's just so poignant and so wonderful, because you're expecting something really overblown and overdone, an author's message. And he's just sort of, meh. It's a wonderful film. It's an entertaining film. And they really tried to get the science right as far as how the biodomes would actually work. So I had to open with that one.
That is a great choice.
Well, Mr. Siskel, I have to disagree with you a little bit. I had to Google the movie when you started talking about it, because actually I found that movie so incredibly boring that it blocked itself from my mind. I think I passed out 3 times trying to get through it. And if I had to listen to that guy babble to himself for 5 more minutes, I think I'd have jumped off something.
I want to say hi to Slasher Fred.
Slasher Fred.
And Donald Kunzer.
And realize I wouldn't be me unless I bashed a boring movie.
Well, of course. I mean, I expect nothing less from you, Dan. That's why you're here.
Sorry. I did like the special effects in it. I did think the guy had a great ability to act. The Durham guy, he's wonderful actor.
Bruce Dern was extremely
but he does have a droning on ability to bore you to freaking death.
I like him in that.
Reminds me of that room where that movie where that guy stands in the room talking all the time. That makes me want to pull my hair out.
It's really hard.
Greenhouse in space for some reason, you know.
It is really hard to pull off a full-length movie with basically just one character. I mean, like Thrash said, there are other characters in flashbacks, but for the most part, it is a one-man show. He's talking to the droids.
Another one that comes to mind about the one character, one-dimensional movie was that one with Tom Hanks on an island, Castaway. That movie made me want to pull my hair out too. And
that movie is about 45 minutes too long.
A soccer ball, I want to kick it.
See, I need to have Dan on here to counterbalance my optimism and my upbeat nature of liking every movie. You know, we need to have something to set that aside.
And I like every movie. It's just some of them are boring, some of them are good, some of them's not good. But I like them all because I watch them. If I don't watch them, I can't talk about them.
I do love Silent Running. I do think it was one of my very first videos. I think it was like my 6th or 7th video. I actually like it more than Soylent Green, and I get a lot of flack for that because I think it gets conservation right. Conservationism versus environmentalism. I get into that in my videos. I don't need to talk about that right now. But I do like the idea, like Thrash said, of being ecologically prophetic, like knowing that at the rate humanity is going, we got to conserve nature as best we can, and the powers that be aren't going to care. And that's, I mean, I don't want to get political, but that seems very real to me. But I will say the one thing I do not like about Silent Running is I cannot stand Joan Baez, and I'm sorry. I'm not a hippie. I can't do it. That's all.
I have a Joan Baez story, but sadly I can't share it. So I'm like giggling inanely to myself. So
okay, I will amend my statement. I don't hate Joan Baez. I just don't think she meshes well in the movie. How's that?
It doesn't really work. Although the idea of children playing in the sun in the days before melanoma was a thing, that was kind of a nice sentiment. But yet it's kind of whiny and preachy, but she was both whiny and preachy. I dreamt I saw Joe Hill last night.
I will say this. It is one of the top 5 movies that I've ever slept through.
You're too kind. You truly have to be a fan of Bruce Dern to watch the movie. It's like, because that's all there is.
I'm a big fan of Bruce's, but I do like him, and I never down his performances. But I did get tired of hearing him babble to himself in this movie.
Yeah, he very rarely plays the lead. He's usually a secondary actor. Yeah.
Well, there's a reason for that, Tug.
And I did say I wasn't going to talk about 2001 anymore, but I have to mention it with Silent Running because the guy who made Silent Running, Douglas Trumbull, special effects legend, started on 2001. And he set Silent Running on Jupiter to prove to Stanley Kubrick that he could make a movie set on Jupiter because Stanley Kubrick didn't think it was possible. So there you go.
And to go down that rabbit hole now, was 2001 loosely based on the original Solaris.
Solaris was based on like the book. I don't know. I don't know when the book came out. I
think 2001 was first, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm
racking my brains. It's a good question though.
Well, the Russians were ripping off 2001 a little bit.
I think Solaris was ripping off 2001 for sure. I mean, the movie Solaris definitely was like a counterpoint to 2001.
And I just recently seen the original Solaris because I'd always seen the George Clooney knockoff, and I was unaware they was original till I seen it in a video, the one I sent you with all the old Russian movies. And I'm like, oh, there's an original. And you told me that you had made a video, and I went and watched the video. So then I had to find the movie and watch it. And I really like the original 10 times better than the
it is so good compared to the remake.
That's just it. It wasn't just that the Clooney Solaris had an original. It's just that it had a demonstratively better original. In fact, I'm hard put. Actually, I can think of a couple of remakes.
I wish the guy who had made the original had the budget that the George Clooney movie had. I think it would have been a big difference.
There's one big scene in Solaris early on where he's driving and you're supposed to be seeing like the city of the future, and it just looks like some dude driving, and it goes on for like 15 minutes, and a better budget would have definitely helped that because that's the one part of the movie I have to skip because it's just boring. Nothing happens.
I do love your short where you explain the spite of sci-fi where H.G. Wells made Things to Come because he hated Fritz Lang's Metropolis, and then
2001 was made because
it was 2000. I thought there was one in between, but then 2001, and then Soderbergh made Solaris because he hated everyone.
I think it was Tracy. I think it was Tracy last week that brought up Metropolis.
Yeah,
and at the time I was thinking, well, does that really fit? But after catching it, a little bit of Metropolis on one of these old Turner Classic Network channels this week, I caught like 30 or 40 minutes of it. I was like, yeah, okay, they were going for predicting the future. And from their limited technological standpoint, they did a pretty good job at imagining a future.
It's more the essence of class struggle, though. That's what I always took from it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, he wasn't really like Fritz Lang and his wife, whose name I can't pronounce. So
Mrs. Fritz Lang.
Mrs. Fritz Lang, yeah. Future member of that party. They were trying to write basically a social utopia. They were trying to figure out how to make a social utopia, and that's what Metropolis is. But I mean, there was a little bit of science in there.
Weren't you the one who said no one sets out to make a dystopia? They set out to make a utopia, and things go wrong.
Exactly. Yes, that is very true.
A very piquant observation.
And not all silent movies are boring, Gary Carpenter. How dare you? Metropolis does have boring moments.
Most of them do.
Most of them do, yeah.
Well, unless they got that little Pickford girl in them.
Oh, yeah.
Mary Pickford, never mind.
Okay, so since we're on the subject, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Things to Come, because you brought it up. Things to Come, again, was H.G. Wells trying to predict a future utopia, trying to figure out how you get there, and all the strife and troubles that would get you there, because he saw World War II coming. He knew it was going to be bad. It wasn't nearly as bad as he thought it was going to be. He thought it was going to be real bad. And he even predicted the nuclear bomb a little bit, which is kind of cool that H.G. Wells predicted that. And as we've discussed with Thrash before, it kind of is the precursor to a lot of zombie fiction. I like Things to Come because despite its optimism, it's still definitely dystopian. He's trying to say that like what we need are scientists to rule the world using the gas of peace, like literal chemical warfare on the populace. He thought this was a good idea. Which is just nuts to me.
It's one of his darker fun facts that he believed in the one world government.
H.G. Wells predicted the future, and another one like the Time Machine, where he had
sure,
a dim view of our future too.
Yeah, H.G.
there's
Wells was
no
definitely
science.
H.G. Wells was definitely a futurist. He was also a socialist, hardcore socialist.
But technologically, he was way ahead of his times mentally.
But yes, he was very ahead of his time, and I think most science fiction today really like follows the formula of a couple of different H.G. Wells books. Like all alien invasion movies steal from War of the Worlds, every single one of them. Most time travels.
I'll go one step further. I'll say that a lot of modern technology and inventions came from the inspiration of H.G. Wells' books. People saw it and they said, "This is so cool, we got to make it." And the science fiction and the projections of his future visions became reality.
Absolutely. No, and I think that's one of the beauties of science fiction is that it tends to not necessarily predict the future, but put in motion ideas that become the future. Like they help create the future. I think that's really cool. Like if you look at Star Trek, even classic 1960s Star Trek, they had pads, which are basically just iPads. Like, you know, and the communicator was the flip phone. You know, was the flip phone inspired?
Oh, I love the flip phone when they come out. Boy, I was a Captain Kirk on my little flip phone.
They were legitimately inspired by Star Trek. The inventor of the flip phone even said that. So, like, yeah, did it predict the future or did it create the future? I like to think the latter, and that's where H.G. Wells comes in, I think.
One of the amazing things about things to come, and again, he kind of, the filmmakers, they tried to sand it down because they were trying not to be like too polarizing, but the Wings Over the World is a totalitarian government.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Period.
Yeah.
And it was that idea of the benevolent totalitarianism, which is ironic because the whole victorious peace angle is something Cabal mocks, but you're basically doing it yourself. And I remember Aldous in Frankenstein Unbound has this wonderful argument, and I know this is going to become a soundbite, so guys, remember where I said this in context.
22 minutes.
But I remember, I believe it was Nietzsche who said that science would free the world from the cruel and fictitious God. What happened was, Aldous very appropriately pointed out, science didn't free the people. Science simply replaced the God. Science became the new God, and so in some ways even more brutal. So yeah, the Wings Over the World, while they do manage to rebuild the world, and that would be very important in a post-apocalyptic civilization, they don't do so nicely.
Agreed.
But they may do it as nice as possible. So and I think now that's not really science because we're still projecting, but I really have no trouble seeing that. I mean, I'm always saying when people watch post-apocalyptic fiction, the biggest problem with post-apocalyptic survivors is you're going to have to do stuff you just don't want to.
Well, Tug, congratulations. You picked a movie I can't criticize or say nothing bad about that I really freaking love, as I do most stuff by H.G. Wells.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like that one a lot, too.
Me too. Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I also do want to highlight Sarah's comment from earlier where we were talking about the gas of peace. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, she has her own gas of peace, of course.
Well, and Big Pharma would support that.
Probably, yeah.
You know, it's if you think about it, that's what basically Big Pharma is doing. They're creating a gas of peace, only in tablet form.
Oh, and hi, Mike Silva. I see you in there,
Mikey.
Oh wait, I gotta. Hold on. I'm having problems with my buttons. There we go. Okay. So let's see. I guess that means it's your turn, Dan.
Okay, you know, I thought really hard about this, and I really wanted to say, I'm not going to choose this movie, but I want it to say Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, the movie, because Buck Rogers was predicting the future and stuff, but it was just too cheesy. So I said, no, I'm going to talk about something a little more realistic that actually meant something that's actually on the hard sci-fi movie list that I've been looking through, because I found it. There's quite a few movies out there that I haven't seen in this category. So I wanted to go with something I'd seen. So I picked War Games.
Oh, nice. Good choice.
Even though I'm not the biggest Matthew Broderick fan in the world, it's one of his best performances. And the movie is really great, and it does predict a possible bad scenario that artificial intelligence can send down upon us. It's not the Terminator, but it's still the ghost in the machine bad.
No, and it's still like an issue we have to this day of like, how far is the military willing to take AI, and will they ever take the human element out of the equation? We've got AI guided drones now, and it's kind of scary that is a thing that exists.
This computer can say, hey, I'm going to bomb this place, and on its own launch an attack on this place. Who knows who's there?
Yeah, exactly.
Like all of us, like when Russia launched their drones at Ukraine the other day, and all of a sudden they take a left towards Poland for no reason.
Oops.
Not saying what caused that malfunction or whatever. If NATO hadn't shot them drones down, we'd be in World War III right now, possibly.
I heard a story years ago about how they were using those little car robot thingies in a war game. And one of them, they didn't give them live ammunition, but they had like little automatic weapons on them. And the guys, and they were set on auto, so they could actually, I don't want to say make decisions, but they could actually operate on their own. And this one guy said, and this is chilling, he said I had like a little periscope head like this. It came up to him, it paused for a second as if it was considering, and then it went clackety, 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 clackety. And it's like the thing was trying to decide whether or not to kill me. And well, look what it decided. And I'm like, well, the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. So yeah.
The military actually did this test with remote sentry drones that ran totally on AI, and they loaded them with little paintball things and tested their soldiers against them, and whether it could identify friendly forces from hostile forces. And the test was so drastically a failure that they discontinued the entire project.
Well, that's something.
Saying.
But what if the computer changes its mind?
Tristan in the chat is asking how hard of sci-fi is Universal Soldier. I think we'd have to turn living people into cyborgs first. So RoboCop would be harder science fiction than Universal Soldier. And I think the hardest thing to swallow is Jean-Claude Van Damme being a good actor.
He made a couple of good movies.
I didn't say he didn't make good movies. I just don't think
it's okay if he did.
But I like a couple of Steven Seagal movies too. So.
He's kind of like Jimmy Dean. He is only good when he's playing Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, I don't dislike Jean-Claude Van Damme. I just don't think he can act
at all.
Well, sometimes not being able to act don't stop it from being a good movie. Look at all them Jackie Chan movies.
You're right, it doesn't.
I don't know. Jackie Chan has his own charm, but yeah.
And again, I have probably the high watermark. James Dean. James Dean made 3 films. They were all amazing. But again, he was just being James Dean.
Yeah, there's just some actors who have to play to their strength, and their strength is being themselves. That's fine.
That's just described every John Wayne Western ever made.
Yeah, basically. When John Wayne tried to get out of that bubble, like playing Genghis Khan.
Oh God,
so good.
That's the one movie by Wayne you'd bring up, man. Oh my God. Yeah, you would bring up the one John Wayne movie that I feel good bashing.
Yeah, there's a couple of John Wayne movies I don't like. There's that and the Green Berets. I can't stand the Green Berets.
I didn't hate the Green Berets.
Oh, shameless propaganda. Oh,
that fun movie, man. Oh no. That was so wrong.
But me again?
I think it is your turn again.
Good. I'm actually going to skip the one I was going to do next, and I'm going to put another one in because we mentioned it, and I feel it is deserving. I'm going to talk about, if you guys did last week, forgive me. I'm going to talk about Soylent Green.
Oh, nice. Okay. We didn't talk about Soylent Green. We have not talked about
it. Same difference. The situation is, and again, Harry Harrison actually did research on this about overpopulation, overconsumption, the impact of industrialization on the biosphere. And I thought that all came together very, very nicely. Now, the science behind getting nutritional value out of human remains, I won't speak to that. I'm sure it can be done, but I won't speak to it. I don't know how we'll get it right. But just the vision of a future which is frighteningly overpopulated, which was a thing back at the time, and where the infrastructure is cracking because of lack of resources, is something we can all visualize. Ironically, the population is no longer going up catastrophically. If anything, it's dropping below replacement. And if I had more time, I would go into my Brian Aldiss a graybeard story arc, but I'll save that for another post. But yes, I think Soylent Green did an excellent job presenting a horrible eco future, particularly because it's actually not a science fiction film. It's basically post-apocalyptic police procedural.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's more like a neo-noir than it is a science fiction movie. I've said my piece about the science behind Soylent Green and about Paul Ehrlich and the population bomb and the Malthusian belief that we are rapidly facing overpopulation. I don't think that's true. I've said my piece. I'm not going to get into it. But I do love Soylent Green.
Movie I like. I love Soylent Green. I like all Charlton Heston movies. I'm a big Charlton Heston fan. And I have to say that one line that he uttered out in that movie, Soylent Green is people, echoed through the years, through a whole generation, and then the next generation, and then the next generation. And kids today are watching that movie going, Soylent Green is people. And it still messes with people's minds today.
It's one of the greatest plot reveals in cinematic history, man.
It's in history.
Period.
And not to mention, there's just some scenes of really commendable acting. We've talked at length about the Edward G. Robinson bits. I'm so ashamed I can't think of the actor's name. He was brilliant. He did a lot of schlocky sci-fi. Additionally, like that one about the bats in the shelter. But anyway, he plays the priest, and this is a man who spends his day trying to cram starving women and children into a shelter, and he's just broken and exhausted. And on top of that, he finds out the secret before Chuck Heston, and he's doing that thing where he can't talk about it, but he can't not talk about it. And again, he's that actor's only in 2 scenes in the movie, but the scene where he is being questioned by Heston is, I think, one of the best scenes in sci-fi cinema history. You just see his exhaustion, and you don't even know what he's talking about, but you still feel for him. It's just amazing.
Donald Kunzer says, I think we will all blame the end of the world on Charlton Heston. Yeah, one way or another, Charlton Heston will have proven right.
4. He was in 4 post-apocalyptic movies, and thank you. Indy Spout says Chosen Survivors. All I could think of was Darkwing, and Darkwing was wrong, but yes, Chosen Survivors. Now, what was the actor's name?
And all I'm going to say to finish up is any movie with Charlton Heston is a winner.
Yeah, especially his 70s sci-fi, man. Those videos did better on my channel than any other videos I've ever done.
But that's because his movies are better than any movies from the 70s that were done at the time, mostly.
70s movies do great on my channel. I don't know what it is. People love the 70s.
You should definitely do the Night Stalker with Darren McGavin stuff.
Yeah, I think I got that laying around somewhere back here. Yeah,
and like the Night Stalker, the Night Strangler movie, and then maybe a lot of stuff about the series, like you did the Twilight Zone stuff. Each episode individually talked about.
Yeah, that was my original plan, but YouTube's copyright system kind of put the kibosh.
Yeah, that's another thing. You'll have to use stills, because if you put up anything moving with the Night Stalker in it, you'll probably have a problem.
Yeah, I might have to do that like next October, because this October I'm doing Hammer. So maybe next October.
Just to point out that every year for the last 3 years, I tried to play the Night Stalker movie on the Daily Dan blog, and for 3 years in a row, I've gotten a copyright strike for trying to play the same movie. But I'm feeling really lucky this year, and I've got a plan. So everybody tune in Halloween night, and we'll see what happens. Nice. It'll either be copyright strike number 4, or I'll hit a home run.
We'll see what happens.
I'm going to stop it every little bit, and I got a plan, man, and I'm not going to play the intro.
He's got a plan. He's a jungle boy. Sorry.
Let's see. On my list, what do we got? Let's talk about The Last Man on Earth. I know we've never talked about this on the channel ever before.
Never heard of it.
I get a lot of flack because in one of my videos I said it wasn't that great, and I'm wrong. I was obviously wrong. Last Man on Earth is a great movie. I don't know what I was thinking. It's very low budget, but Vincent Price is just giving it his all, and it's probably the closest to the book, which isn't saying anything. I do appreciate that what it's doing is it's showing you the main character is a scientist who is trying to make sense of a zombie outbreak. I mean, in the book it's vampires, in the movie it's very clearly proto zombies, what would later be inspired George Romero, all that. I like that he uses the scientific method to try to understand what's going on, and I really, really appreciate that. I think that's not something you see in movies very often, especially not even in science fiction movies. And I think Vincent Price is just so good. And I love that speech at the end where he's like, freaks, you're all freaks. And I like that the story from the book actually deals with, when you get so wrapped up in the science and trying to understand what's happening, you kind of lose your humanity, which none of the three movies get at. None of the three movies tackle that. The Last Man on Earth a little bit, so that's why I give it credit. Anyway, I don't know where else I was going with that. I just really like that it shows him using the scientific method. Oh, also, for the record, the virus that creates the vampire/zombies came from China, from some bats in China, and spread around the world.
Alrighty, now you picked a movie. Another movie I can't come down on too hard because I love Vincent Price and I love that movie. I will say that the remake, The Omega Man with Charlton Heston, is a movie that's shot much better acted, with better special effects. It was just 100 times better. But being what it was in the time it was made, Vincent Price being Vincent Price, this is a classic. This is the first telling of the story. It will always be monumental to me. I love the movie. I can't criticize it whatsoever.
Well said.
Yeah.
But an even better remake was, of course, and I can't even say it with a straight face.
I say, before you say it, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. The last one.
I was going to say the last one was, well, we all know how I feel about that.
You notice I didn't even mention it.
I wasn't going to mention it.
I had to at least jokingly mention it. Thank you. Lincoln Kirkpatrick was the guy's name. Thank you very much.
I don't like to mention his movies because I may say something wrong and he might come slap me.
Bring it. I would love him to try. But just in support of Tug, what you were saying, I believe it was the first attempt in sci-fi horror literature where they tried to explain the science behind vampirism.
No, it is absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, and so that in and of itself just makes it a legend.
And I actually think the book does a better job of explaining vampirism scientifically than anything that's come after. There have been lots of attempts to explain vampirism scientifically.
Del Toro tried to do it in The Strain.
Usually it's some form of porphyria or something, and it's never as good as what he did. And John,
in the Dark Shadows series, it was a biological disease,
right?
A virus that caused them to be vampires.
Yeah. And John, to answer your question, yes, we did talk about Europa report last week. It was mostly just Damien ragging on me for having never seen it. So yeah, consider me ragged again that I have not seen Europa report. Sorry.
I don't think I've seen it neither. Have I?
Me neither. I was going to say anything, but since you're fessing up too. Sorry.
Apparently, me specifically, I really should watch it because I wrote Paradox, and a lot of Paradox takes place on Europa. Yeah.
Oh.
Once again, I Googled hard science fiction movies just to see what the list looked like, and I realized that I've probably seen 10% of the list.
Well, there you go.
It amazes me because I'm a science fiction freak. I love movies, but some of these movies are like, oh my God, I really want to sit through this.
That's the problem with hard sci-fi, is if you get all the science accurate, usually the story kind of takes a hit.
It's truly for the true fans, let's face facts.
Yeah,
but I find it hard to believe movies like District 9 got everything right.
No.
Why
District
is it on
9?
There's nothing scientifically accurate about District 9. I love
It's
District 9.
on the list.
There is a nation of South Africa, but that's about it. I don't know. So
I mean,
if you consider
like I
geography a science,
I don't understand why some of these movies are on the list.
Yeah, when I was Googling and coming up with some movies, I'm like, what? No.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is hard sci-fi? Since when?
How accurate is Serenity?
Serenity? The only reason I'd give Serenity any credit is just because it doesn't have sound in space, but that's like bare minimum, right?
And Summer Glau was hot.
Yeah. I like Serenity. I like Firefly. But come on.
List.
Yeah, it's a Western in space, which is fine, but it's not scientifically accurate at all.
Not even close.
Nobody's got on the list.
I tried making a super prawn spray out of cat food. So actually, it's your turn, Dan.
All righty then. Moving ahead. Something theoretically might actually be possible one day. At least they tried to get it right, I think, and that would be, and it's on the list, damn it, 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis.
I mean, I love 12 Monkeys, but why is it on the list?
But it's from the list. You want to see?
I believe you. I totally believe you.
Why?
Go ahead, talk about it.
I pointed out two worse choices before I brought up one with time travel.
That's true.
But
I mean, you have me at time travel. I love time travel. So, I mean, and I love 12 Monkeys.
But theoretically speculating if they were going to do time travel in the future, it could work something like 12 Monkeys.
And that was a very accurate portrayal of Brad Pitt. I'll give you that.
I like the acting in the movie. I like the way it's done. I like the theoretical time travel stuff because I love time travel stuff. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
And this is to me, this is one of Bruce Willis's best movies. I love it when he goes. I love it when he goes off and does something that ain't just crawling through a ventilator shooting up the bad guys. You know.
I do like the fact they cover the problem of how do you bring things back and forth between time, because there's even if there's nothing in a space, there's still atoms. There's still like molecules of oxygen and stuff, which are already occupying that space. So how do you get from the one state of affairs to the other? Like when he brings the spider back, he has to swallow it because he's only set for his own mass, nothing outside of that. So if he was holding it, it wouldn't go back. I like the fact they covered that, but it's still beyond theoretic.
I'm sorry, I was just saying hi to JC News Now.
I didn't like the part where they track you through time with your teeth.
That was just trying to play off of the whole thinking you have like things in your teeth, like the CIA talking to you in your teeth. It's very common.
I think some of that's the reason I keep my teeth in a glass now.
I appreciate it because it is a time travel movie where time is a fixed loop. And anybody who knows my feelings on time travel knows that I'm a sucker for that. I like it when it makes sense. And the rules are not broken in the movie at any point. I really appreciate that.
I loved Vonnegut's apogem example, theoretically, where the Trump Amadorians said, you see those mountains over there? Those are the same mountains that were there yesterday, and the same mountains will be there tomorrow. You can't change the mountains.
Right.
And it's an oversimplification, but of course, someone who really understood that would have to dumb it down for a mere earthling. So I thought it was very nice the way he did that.
And one of my favorite parts is where he time traveled to the wrong place and he's in the middle of a war and he gets shot in the ass.
Yeah, World War I. Yeah.
He gets shot in the ass, and then when they bring him back, he's like, I was in the wrong place. And then the girl finds the bullet in his ass, and it's from World War I. And then the picture shows up. The picture's the best part. It proves he was there. That's just ties together so well.
That's a running thread that I've noticed in science fiction. If for whatever reason the main character has to go to the future, it's always, I think it's almost silly when the people in the future are so amazingly well informed about all the things that have happened in between. There would be erroneous beliefs. There would be gaps. He doesn't say, oh, I was back in the French trenches of World War I. He goes, no, I just showed up and there was some kind of war going on. And I thought that was very nice the way they did that. I don't know. I recently discovered an old Alfred Hitchcock, one of the ones that actually was science fiction related. It's called, I believe it was called Consider Her Ways. But it's about a woman who goes into the future where all the men have died in a plague and the women have created like a caste society. And to make sure she's not insane, they have her talk to a historian. But a lot of what the historian believes is not accurate.
Right.
It doesn't help. They just think she's insane.
I remember that episode now. I had to think about it, but yeah, you got me.
It's one of his best. Yeah, I recently discovered it.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. I like it's like the Time Machine. Again, if it's a time travel story, it takes some inspiration from the Time Machine. In the Time Machine, when he goes to the future, he has no idea what happened between the present day and the Morlocks. He has no clue, and there's no explanation given because you don't need one. Like that's the beauty of it. You don't have to explain it. Writers don't like that at all. Writers want to explain everything, so that's why it's hard.
It's kind of easy living right now to kind of figure out what might happen.
But I will say about 12 Monkeys, it's one of the few examples I can think of where the title of the movie is itself a red herring. I love that. I think that's cool.
You spent the entire movie like, what are the 12 monkeys?
Why is the 12 monkeys important? It's not at all. It's nothing to do with anything. Just Brad Pitt is insane. That's it.
Sometimes the title has nothing to do with the movie, like Batman.
He's batshit insane, acting upon an idea that Bruce Willis put in his freaking head
right,
in the past as a time traveler.
Exactly. It's a bootstrap paradox. Yeah.
It's brilliant, man.
John, we did in fact talk about Primer. I'm pretty sure it was the one I opened with last week. Maybe you should have watched last week.
I honestly believe that 12 Monkeys could be the best interpretation of time travel in a time travel movie that I've seen. That's why I chose it. So that's all I got to say about that.
It's definitely the most consistent that I can think of off my head. Yeah, I do appreciate that.
You could certainly throw that into the ring.
I understand why it's on the list because of all the movies. And believe me, there are some winners on this list that I could bring up.
Yeah, Andy's right. It is Primer, actually. But, 12 Monkeys is a contender, at least.
And he's also right. It was written by John Wyndham, the story I was talking about. Yes. Oh, and I'm sorry. My favorite time travel is still going to be The Sound of Thunder.
Sound of Thunder is great. Yeah.
It's still my favorite.
No problem with that. I may be a little biased, but my favorite is this little book called Paradox.
For no reason.
Yeah.
So who's up now? Dan?
I'm not going to bring up the other time travel movies.
No, he brought up 12 Monkeys, so it's your turn. Actually.
Oh, it's my turn. Oh, my turn again? Okay, well, I'm going to shift gears from eco horror and move on to another thing, which is actually very topical. And I'm going to go with Corbin. Colossus, the Forbin Project.
Not Corbin. See, now I'm glad I didn't bring it up when he brought up War Games.
Yeah.
I almost mentioned it.
Dan said something about why he's leaving, but I'm sure he'll come back. But it's a great pick, and it's so well done. And at a time when computers weren't exactly in their infancy, but we're still wildly evolving, not even close to what we have today. And the fact that they could visualize artificial intelligence and what it might do, I found it to be absolutely amazing. Now, of course, a lot of people say, well, it was first visualized in the complete science fantasy, I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream. And again, all roads lead to Ellison, and I will die on that hill.
I'm sure he did too.
He did. He died on that hill. But I thought they really put a lot of thought into it. And right down to the speech Colossus gives at the end, where I'm like, oh my God, sounds like something a computer would say. Talk about that benevolent totalitarianism. He's like, look, you designed me to protect you, and protect you I shall, whether you like it or not. And if I have to make the point a couple of times, it reminded me a lot of, and this is going to sound really silly because there's no science, let alone hard science in this. Are you familiar with the old comic Bucky O'Hare or the short-lived cartoon series?
Vaguely, not very well, but I do know of its existence.
Long story short, it's anthropomorphic, and each planet, there's the dog planet and the bunny planet, and the Aniverse is being taken over by the Toad planet. Now, initially, the Toad planet is not dangerous; they're just very hedonistic. They love their leisure time and their toys. Sound familiar? So what they do is they build a supercomputer to do all the boring, mundane operational stuff so they can have all their leisure time and play with their fun toys. And the first thing the supercomputer does is say, to have a good standard of living, you need resources. To have resources, you have to get them from somewhere. since you guys are all unemployed now, because I'm doing everything, you will be turned into soldiers and we will conquer the universe. And I'm like, that's actually an extraordinarily good idea. Not altruistic, but an extraordinarily good idea. And that's the problem. Computers actually don't think in terms of moralities. They think in terms of effectiveness. And again, I had no trouble believing it. So yeah, Corbin the Forbidden Project is
Colossus,
crazy.
not Corbin. I don't know why you keep calling it Corbin.
Because Richard Corbin is I just did a project on him, so I have Corbin on the brain.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Corbin Bernstein. So and Indy, that's a nod to you because we all know you're AM.
Yeah, Colossus is a fantastic movie and way ahead of its time, like many steps ahead of its time. And it is to this day a very creepy watch. You feel dread watching Colossus. And yeah, it doesn't end well for anybody.
Well, Colossus.
Well, maybe for
it ends very nicely for Colossus.
Yeah.
And who knows? He may create a golden age.
Yeah, maybe he will create a utopia. I mean, I've read the books, and it gets really weird after that. But you know, we don't need to get into that. There's aliens, and it's weird. I
have not read the books. I'm sure
there's 3 of them. The first one is pretty much the movie, and then the second one involves aliens coming to Earth, and and then the third one they like flee to the moon or something. I don't even remember. It went completely off the rails.
Is there a war between the aliens and the computer?
I think so. Yeah.
Because someone I never read it. I'm sure you're familiar with the heavy metal series Druna.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
All right, Chance, chill out.
We're all dirty old men at this point. Although when I started reading, she was a sexy older woman. Now I'm a dirty old man. How the worm has turned. But anyway, I have tuned out by this point. But someone said in the later books there was she gets caught up in a war between aliens and a supercomputer, and I remember someone saying that it was probably based on yada yada blah blah blah, and so I'm guessing that was the thing that they were talking about. Yes.
Donald Kunstler gives the titles of the 2 books, the sequels, The Fall of Colossus and Colossus and the Crab. Right? Yeah. I read them a long time ago. It's been a while. It's been a minute, we'll say.
Oh, and yes, I love that line from a Big Bang Theory. I love that line.
You stick electrodes in a rat's brain, give him an orgasm button, he'll push that thing until he starves to death. Pretty much. I recently somebody kind of blew my mind. Every time somebody mentions Pavlov to you, you think of dogs, don't you? You've been conditioned to think about dogs. Yeah.
All right.
That's more synchronicity than irony, but
I know. It's just funny.
It's a fun fact, yes.
Let's see. Okay. Since in my last pick I did mention rat viruses from China, let's talk about Contagion. This was a movie that I really wish hadn't been so accurate. Imagine if the 2020 pandemic had been about 10 times more virulent, and you'd have Contagion. And Contagion was scary accurate in how it portrayed how society would react to such a virus, such a disease, such a pandemic. It even, I don't even know where to begin, man. It did get a lot of science. There's a lot of science, especially in the first 20 minutes is mostly just science. And then the rest of the movie just plays out like this is how society would carry on after that. It's not an easy watch now. Like I watched it before, I saw it in theaters long before the pandemic actually happened. And I remember thinking it was scary, but I thought it was a little dull, maybe. And then after the pandemic, like a lot of people, while I was stuck at home doing nothing, I watched it after watching Outbreak. Outbreak is still fun. Outbreak is not scary anymore, but Contagion is even scarier than it was before. I don't like how accurate Contagion was. Really, really bothers me.
I didn't hate the movie, Doug. I really didn't. But it's another one of them that just kind of bored me to freaking tears. It's like
it wouldn't now.
It's like a movie that actually needed some mutated zombies eating people to cheer it up.
I mean, like that's kind of how I thought when I saw it the first time. Is I thought it was a little dull.
I seen it once, so maybe I'm being harsh, but it was like one of the movies that the minute it went off, I said, oh, "This is on my list of movies I never want to freaking sit through again."
Yeah, but Outbreak, I highly recommend watching Outbreak.
Yeah, I watched Outbreak. I've seen it recently, as a matter of fact. Dustin Hoffman always. I love it when Dustin Hoffman actually makes a good movie. I think there's 3 of them.
Of Dustin Hoffman being a good in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's The Graduate and Marathon Man.
That may be it. Yeah,
I think that's it. Yeah,
there wasn't none of the ones where he's dressed up like a fat, ugly woman.
So let's see.
Talk about movies that are turned out to be accurate.
Anyway,
you know, it's so true that in what we call the post-COVID world, and I don't think we're in post yet. I think we're still the COVID.
It's still
world,
around. Yeah,
you know, it's still around. We're still reverberating. There's still echoes from it. We're still all COVID cuckoo.
Yeah, what gets me mad is everybody crying, "Oh, we got the flu! oh, it's the flu!" Y'all have no idea what's out there. Did you not watch Outbreak? If Ebola or something like that got loose, you would have something to cry about. Quit crying over the damn flu. It goes around every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say was, Harrison.
I'm 60 years old and I've never had a flu shot or a flu vaccination or none of that stuff in my whole life. Ever. I've never had a cold or the flu. I wouldn't even know what that stuff felt like.
Have you ever met Samuel Jackson in a comic book shop?
Not in person.
There's a bell ringing in my head. It's probably the tinnitus, but I know it's a proper response.
Unbreakable. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I
am definitely not unbreakable because I've had so many bones broken.
That's true. Yeah. You have been
I've
broken a few times.
I've had 194 fractures at one time.
And 195 strokes.
Well,
by my calculations.
I had like 6 strokes.
I was being a smartass. I'm sorry. I'm not wishing another stroke on you. I apologize. But have you guys noticed that this episode has become like a love letter to Bruce? I'm on the home stretch. Guy from Unbreakable. Guy from 12 Monkeys.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah. Thank you. All I can think of is Springsteen. Bring. I think I'm having a stroke.
Strokes, yeah.
I smell toast. I'm sorry, Bruce Willis. Thank you. Mental block. But yes, this is becoming a love.
He also played Corbin Dallas. Yeah. In The Fifth Element.
Now I'm scared.
I like that movie. I'm 50-50 with that movie. Half that movie's great, and the other half is, oh my God.
But before it goes over,
it was directed by somebody who really was into science fiction that could do really great directing, and the other half was directed by a bumbling idiot.
Before history rolls over it, Harry Harrison wrote a book called the Jupiter Plague,
right?
And most of it is about aliens and this really sick, bizarre sociology experiment they're doing on Earth. And I've been trying to find this book for ages because I wanted to read it. A friend of mine actually had it and lost it. He was going to give it to me, but I want to read it because the big thing about it, I would have noticed this when I was a kid, but the big thing about it is the sociology behind the outbreak is frighteningly accurate by the COVID outbreak. So again, and it's funny, there's only really one Harry Harrison movie to speak of in his canon previously discussed. I think it'd be great if they actually did make, even with the silly alien subplot, I think it'd be a great movie to make today.
Yeah, there you go. I'll think about that. That's cool.
Sorry, I just want to make sure we did that. Anyway.
Hi, Lance. If I forgot to say hi before, I see you in the chat.
and we did talk about Soylent Green, speaking of which.
Yes, we definitely talked about
just did again.
And speaking of plagues from space, we did talk about Andromeda Strain last week as well. So.
Oh, we did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But we definitely should talk about it again because that's a darn good movie.
And like I said last week, it really does accurately portray the scientific method in all of its glory. I think that's awesome.
Even The Stand gets a lot right, and that is pure science fantasy. But even that got a lot right.
Yeah, I don't think Stephen King really did a lot of like scientific research, but he still managed to get a lot right. So
and he said he felt so bad during the pandemic. He kept getting all this hate mail, like, "Yo, you predicted, you brought it on." He goes, "I wrote a story 50 years ago. Leave me alone.
Not every single story about a disease is related to COVID, okay?
Refreshing.
Last Man on Earth and Contagion, on the other hand.
What we talked about today, I would have to say the Andromeda strain would be the #1 disease you don't want to mess with.
Oh, yes. Well, it's an alien strain too, if I remember. I haven't seen the movie in years, but
it's not even technically a virus. It's more closer related to a prion, like a folding protein, and it just messes with your insides. And there's your immune system can't fight it. Yeah.
And the more we bring things from space, the more that's a likelihood. They said they've discovered things on the International Space Station that they don't think came from Earth. And that's all they say on it because they can't prove it, but it doesn't really add up. And so
you're welcome, Indy. Yeah. Okay, so for me, I'm going to talk about, let's see, Contact, 1997, I think.
Something.
Yeah. I love Contact. I don't care who hears me say it. I'm not going to apologize. I think it is a fantastic movie. I think it is one of Zemeckis' best movies, right up there with Back to the Future. I read the book. The movie does not. I mean, the movie follows the book to a point. It gets rid of the whole Cold War subplot for obvious reasons, because in the 90s there was no Cold War. I think it is Jodie Foster's best performance, even surpassing Clarice Starling's Silence of the Lambs. And I think it really gets at the heart of the whole science tackling faith and science, and where you draw the line and how you draw the line. I think it's something that Carl Sagan struggled with his entire life, and something he talked about his entire life. And I think that Contact is kind of like his magnum opus. I mean, when you get to the end of the movie and Joe's character has to tell her story of what she experienced, and she has no proof of it, and she has to deal with the fact that the one guy who has been an asshole the entire movie calls her out and says, "What, you expect us to take this on faith?" That's like the whole movie hinges on that moment, and I think it is kind of profound. And I don't care that the alien took the form of his father. I think that's better than showing an actual alien. I think an actual alien movie was dumb. And the whole wormhole sequence is awesome. Anyway, I love Contact. I think it is one of the best movies ever made. Full stop.
It's an actually outstanding movie. There are things about it that I don't think worked, but when you put the whole thing together, and yes, the fundamental at odds between science and religion, and how do you reconcile it? Can you reconcile it? And is there even a right answer? Is something that, well, it's been going on since the Scopes monkey trial, which I used to know a lot. I wrote a thesis on that when I was in college. Sadly, I forgot most of it, but it was very poignant, let me tell you. But of course, I took a side. I won't say which side I took, but of course, I took a side. And and by the way, what side you're on doesn't matter. He still broke the law. But that's a civics lesson, not a science lesson, although the science of civics. But again, I thought Contact did an amazing job saying, what would the social ramifications be? And I loved, this is more of just a love of a subplot. I love the John Hurt's character and the dying billionaire as just sort of his own little homage to himself.
On an airplane, yeah.
He builds another one, and then he uses the old military credo, never build one of anything. And it's so true, you know. This will destroy
Why build one when you can build two for twice the price?
Right, exactly.
Actually, it costs less to build the second one because you already knew.
Not if you build them independently.
Yeah, they're built at the same time. That's the thing.
Easy because you just made one.
Yeah.
But one was made by the Japanese, and so it worked better. It was also not sabotaged by Jake Busey, who was insane.
Who played a religious fanatic. I couldn't resist. I had to do it. God forgive me.
Okay, now I guess it's my turn to talk about it. Well, Tug,
I can guess how you feel.
It's one of them movies I'm 50-50 on. I share your point. I love Jodie Foster. Great performance. Wow, what a brilliant actress. Love all her stuff. Even Carney with the other Busey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And I love the way technology is presented. I love the special effects in this movie. I really like the plot of it, and I love it right up until the point when the alien turns out to be looking just like her dad. And I thought that was the biggest cop-out cheap turd in a movie I ever saw in my life. They could have made that sucker look like a ball of freaking light, and it would have been better than having her look like the alien look like her dad. That was a cheap cop-out at the end of the movie.
I certainly see your point. I can't fight you on it, Dan, but one thing I always come back to is the Martians and the Martian Chronicles. It's like your mind sees them the way your mind wants to see them.
Give me 1 minute.
So it's an homage to yes, continue.
Oh, he had to go do something.
Throw up at my statement. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
And also, I read Contact at a very delicate time in my own life where I was struggling with these kinds of questions. I was a very angry atheist / agnostic who was very mad at the world and mad at the religion I'd been raised in, and I was dealing with some stuff, and Contact really spoke to me, and so I've have this personal connection to it. So for me, I kind of understand why the alien has to be her father, because it's dealing on that personal level, and also because it sounds so ridiculous, which is kind of the point. The story has to sound ridiculous. So yeah, I can't. I love Contact. I really do. It means a lot to me. Oh, he got food. That's what he had to do.
DoorDash.
Excellent.
Yeah, Daily Dan is lazy, and he ain't cooking today.
So what are you eating? What's in there, man? You got to tell us.
I have no idea. Somebody sent it to me.
Oh, that's nice.
That's the really cool part about being on YouTube. I got all these friends and all these fans that love me, and I don't even ask them for nothing. And the ones that's got my address are like just out of the blue. That's why I'm sitting outside. It's out of the blue. DoorDash will show up with steak dinners and all this cool shit all the time. I love these people, man.
I'm not getting that treatment. If you guys want to support me, just give me a super thanks. I'll go buy my own food.
I actually had this one guy while I was having some hard financial times. This dude sent me an envelope full of cash.
Oh, I got an email from him that was supposed to go to me.
And I actually had to reach out and tell this guy, please, man, I don't want nothing from nobody. Don't send me no money through the mail. Come on, dude.
That's not legal.
Family or kids. Please don't send me. If you're going to send me something, send me a damn comic book to review on YouTube or something like that. I don't really need that much from nobody else.
I've gotten comics. I've gotten comics from you, actually, now that I think of it, but others as well.
Matter of fact, I've got a whole stack I'm giving away that I've done reviewed and I'm not going to, and they're just in my way.
I've got to make a little video talk like that I play every time somebody mentions The Day the Earth Stood Still remake about how much I don't want to talk about that.
I tried twice. I just I can't do this. I'm sorry. I can't do this. I just can't do this. I'm sorry. I can't.
It offends everything I stand for.
It's not as bad as Land of the Lost, but again, I'm not setting the bar very high.
Yeah. What'd you say, Dan?
Oh, sorry.
Chicken dinner.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Coleslaw or potato wedges?
French fries.
But are there those really cool wedges with the skin still on type fries?
A special thank out to Mr. Mark Rasmussen.
Winner, chicken dinner, right? Nice, John.
It begged for it, didn't it? It really did.
And that'll teach me to give people my home address. That's why most of the time I give the post office box, because you can't send stuff like that there.
You're right, you could.
I know somebody
won't get fat.
Like Tons or TUG or something, they may have my home address. I think TUG actually has it. But
I do.
Very few people have my actual.
I've never sent you food, though.
Please don't.
I wasn't planning on it.
I
don't know what you like. I don't know what you're allergic to.
You want to put some DVDs in a box, I'm open to that.
I know what you want me to send you. You've made that very clear. You want my Dark Shadows DVDs. Or not Dark Shadows. Night Stalker. I know what I meant. I just didn't say
Night.
I don't want
Shadow Stalk.
And I'm going to come up with something you got to have. You'll see something. I'll say, I'll give you this for it. You'll go, yeah, okay.
That
Sooner
Elven
or later,
sword is tempting.
I'm like, Donald, we're gonna make the deal.
Let's see. Okay. I think it's your turn, Dan.
Oh God, it would be. Okay. You brought up cont'd. And like I said, I like everything about that movie, but the ending made me want
a lot of people feel
it. And barf. I hated the last 4 minutes of that movie till she come back and couldn't, blah blah blah. That little part where it's the only thing that ruined it for me. I hated it. I watched the part where she goes and meets Dad, and I cut it off now. It's just after that it ruins it for me. But the alien movie. Because you got so many extraterrestrial movies, you got so many alien movies, like the original Alien that depicts these aliens as bad monsters. I can sit here and name 100 movies about extraterrestrials where they're all bad except maybe E.T., Contact, and the one I'm going to bring up, which is really, to me, of all the alien stuff, in the honor of UFO Man Tim, who's sitting in the hospital and we're wishing him well, let me bring up Close Encounters as being the most currently scientifically what we know about UFOs accurate hard science movie that they are. What do you think?
Based on what we know, I think gives it to you because there's a lot of speculation involved. But
he was taking all of his cues from J. Allen Hynek, of course. And at the time, he was a lot more well respected than he is now. I'll give it to you.
Hynek's actually more respected now than he was back then because he come clean in his book and fessed up that he was covering up and it wasn't really swamp gas and he didn't know that he was forced to say that. I got his book and he comes right out and says the government made me do it. Here's the real facts. Read his book.
You do make a good point. Yes.
But and as far as a lot of the supporting on the Earth side of the equation, which we know more about than the other side of the equation, I'd say they did astoundingly well. The scene where the translator figures it because he's a cartographer and he figures out the coordinates, I thought was very nicely done. The fact that they brought in cryptologists to try to figure out what the alien language is and how they did it, I thought was amazing. Some of the ways they study the people in various manners to find out if they actually were abducted or just crazy people.
Right.
And the fact that a lot of it is subliminal, and when you really get a subliminal idea stuck in your head, it starts to drive you absolutely insane. As a person who fixates, I can relate. I've never trashed my own living room, but it's like, there have been times when ideas stuck in my head have made me go off on weird tangents. The scene where he's making a mountain out of the mashed potatoes and his son starts crying, I'm like, what's so weird about that? When I saw it as a kid, I just thought that all the time. But
I do not know.
I thought they did it from the sociological angle as well, and of course the military clampdown and the fact that they say it's a poison gas leak, but it's really just a knockout gas, and and how the charlatans start selling canaries.
As that movie come out in the 70s, I was really young then. And I was really into the UFO stuff. I saw Close Encounters to me as being at the time the most realistic interpretation of the alien phenomenon that they were out there.
Well, it really put the alien abduction UFO mythos that had started way back with Betty and Barney Hill and all that. It really put it in the forefront and put it in consciousness for the grander audience. I think that really set the stage for the UFO alien abduction craze of the 80s movies. The
only thing I might have a little bit, I'm not sure about in that movie was when they started finding the boats and the airplanes that went missing in the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
In the desert somewhere. That might have been that little part of that movie that was just reaching a little too far, especially since they still cranked up and they were still in mint condition. It just might have been reaching just a little bit.
Well, the implication was that the aliens took them as specimens, but for some honor code or something, taking only pictures of living footprints, they brought them back
Right.
But as they were aliens, it didn't really occur to them, you really should put them back in the right spot. It's like when I was a kid and, you know, I would like pick up a frog and I'd keep it for the day and I'd put the frog down, maybe on the other side of the forest. Well, hopefully the frog will do as better on this side as it was on the other side. But just because I put it back doesn't necessarily mean I put it back in the proper spot.
The problem with these alien movies is very few of them take into account that if the alien kidnaps you and goes to another planet with you and brings you back, there's that time dilation that Tug likes so much. I like that movie with the kid who gets abducted and brought back. Was it The Navigator? Which
Flight of the Navigator.
He didn't age, but the world did. He was only gone a day, but the whole world aged a lot of years.
Well,
and
time dilation
puts it into perspective of what might happen with the time travel thing, which is like the UFO picked up these people and went to the world and they did all this stuff and come back. It's only been a few days for them. That's why the pilots still look the same way they did when they disappeared, maybe a couple of years older, but pretty much the same way when they're walking off the spaceship and getting returned. And the plane still cranked like they were took yesterday, is because even though they went to the other planet and stayed there a while and come back, time on Earth's been 40, 50 years, but time for them's not been that long.
No, I mean, I absolutely love Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I think it is a fantastic movie. I do have one major issue with it in that, like, the hero it's portrayed as a good thing that he gets on this alien ship and gets to go spend some time with the aliens at the end. When he is leaving his wife and family behind.
Well, like I said, you did see his wife and kids. You know why he went, right? I would have jumped on that ship and took off back myself. I would have paid the aliens a fare to go with them.
They left him. Remember, the wife thought he was a crazy alcoholic, and she was probably half right. The wife left him. That's why he decided to go with the aliens. He had nothing left on Earth. He had given up everything, and not by his own choice. Like I say, his fixation drove him insane.
Okay, I got it.
Because the aliens made him go insane.
I got to say this. If I'd been married to Terry Garr, the last thing I'd been worried about had been an alien.
No, there is one thing I'll grant you, Tug. Think of it this way. Let's play this out.
Okay.
After the aliens leave Earth, wouldn't that everyone go, oh, I see. These people weren't crazy. They were being affected by the aliens. So Terry Garr would say, okay, guys, Daddy's not insane. We can all be one big happy family again. He didn't even try that angle. So in your defense, yes, but again, that's one of the things that always broke my heart is that she left him and he was leaving because he really had nothing to stay on Earth for.
I just think all these movies are really cute where the aliens are determined to be these sweet, want to help us aliens, when we all know the real story that How to Serve Man's a cookbook, and everybody that disappears and don't come back wound up a taco on another planet.
I don't think there's any evidence within Close Encounters to say that the aliens are benevolent. I really don't. I think it's a case of they're maybe not necessarily hostile, but they're not necessarily benevolent either. I mean, they're kidnapping people for decades, as Indy brought up in the chat earlier. Like, how is that seen as a good thing?
Well, the way I interpret it, I put a lot of thought in it. It's probably more than I should have. but what happened was they were taking specimens for years, and at some point had a crisis of conscience. We've destroyed these people's lives. I think it was like something out of Cocoon, where maybe they live indefinitely. So a human lives for a very short time. If you take them away for any number of years, you're ruining their lives. Let's bring them back. And we'll replace them with volunteers, people who want to come with us and give us the input. So that would be like the
only reason Richard Dreyfuss wants to go with them is because they made him want to go with them.
Again, a recent crisis of conscience. I think it dawned on them, like, oh crap! It's almost like the Starfleet with the Horta. It's like, oh shit, we've been very, very, very bad.
Well, in my first
novel
novel that I wrote, humans are just put here on Earth to transcend, to become something more. Most people just die. They never transcend to the next level. And in my book, when you get ready to transcend, the aliens come and get you and take you up, and then you become something different. That's when I was a crappy science fiction writer back in the 80s.
So nothing wrong with being a crappy science fiction writer. Nothing at all. We need more of them, in fact.
benevolent or malevolent, they certainly were inconsiderate. What they did not show empathy towards their specimens.
I think it's also trying to
I wrote books and sent them into publishers for 15 years and never got nothing published. Never got no attention whatsoever. I wrote a stupid joke short story and sent it to a friend of mine, and they're making a movie out of it. I hate the world.
I know the feeling. I really know the feeling. Trust me.
Only good part about it was the big check.
Well, I have a weird thing where every time I have a good concept, it's almost like, well, I'll just tell you what. Like, I'll give you an example. I once wrote for a local comedy troupe. They were doing some local access TV, and I wrote a comedy sketch about a university for supervillains, and it was all about how they try to take over the world, and you don't just kill your adversary; you have to have a really elaborate plan to take them out, and like sort of overthinking the whole supervillain angle. And right before we actually even started filming it, Austin Powers came out. And everyone said, "Oh, you ripped off Austin Powers." No, I wrote this first. I promise you I wrote this. Nobody believed me, though. But that happens a lot. I'll come up with a great concept, and someone else will do it almost instantaneously. To the point where I think I have my brain in a jar, and this is some
No, I mean, every time I write something, I have to push through that period where like you start to note it's kind of like somebody says, don't think about the number 24 or something. And you're going to start seeing 24.
Number 23.
The number 23 is a good example. It's a psychological phenomenon where you start to notice things because they're in front of mind. And when you're writing a story, you're going to find examples of the story you're writing everywhere. It happens. I started writing Paradox the same time Mission to Mars and Red Planet came out in theaters. I'm like, why am I writing this now? And now I realize that like those things are very different from what I was working on. Number 23. Yeah.
It's a Jim Carrey movie, and it's the best damn movie he ever made.
Again, not setting the bar high.
I can say Jim Carrey made a movie I freaking loved. Watch out. It's that good. Because I don't like nothing he done much.
And like a couple weeks ago, I revealed the basic idea of the book I'm working on, and then Dan brings up some movie I'd never heard of, and that movie sounds very similar to my book, and it really, and then like I read the Wikipedia article about that movie, and I'm like, nah, this isn't the same thing at all. But it has similar ideas, and it's something you have to push through when you're a writer because it's going to happen. I promise you.
Well, Hollywood does it all the time. There was Big, Freaky Friday, and there were 3 movies about adults and children switching bodies that all came out the same summer. And all 3 studios said, "We swear to God it was an accident. We weren't ripping each other off. We promise."
Somebody said there's no original ideas no more. Things been done already. I think it was somebody who was working on South Park and said everything we do now we have to get from somewhere else because The Simpsons done everything.
Right. No, I mean that's a very common feeling, and everything really is based on some very basic archetypes. There's not a lot of original storytelling out there to be had, and usually it's not like if you really do write something completely original and you publish it so that it survives long enough to become famous later, it won't become well understood or appreciated until long after you're dead. So why would you want to do that?
I got stuff I wrote. I don't want nobody to read till long after I'm dead.
I get you.
all buddy pictures and or duo action movies go back to the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yeah, true.
Seriously.
No, you're not wrong. And like you say, most TV from the 80s was basically just The Fugitive. I think originality is overrated. It's just how you tell the story, not the story you're trying to tell.
It's been a long time since you got the original stories of the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits. Just constantly something new and spectacular thrown in your face every week.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
I can't argue that at all.
They've been very few shows that had that kind of appeal over the years. I will say The X-Files for me had that appeal over the years. I watched every episode of that, 9-10 years.
Mrs. Thrash and I watched that TV show religiously for years, and it's so funny. Comet TV started showing it again, and I found I can't get into it anymore. And I actually, MSN had an article about how, even people who loved it, it's just like it's so deliciously
No, I'll
dated
tell you
now.
what the problem is when Comet TV shows it. It's in some kind of weird little square format that messes with your mind when you try to watch it.
Huh.
It don't look like full screen. It's like in a little box inside the screen.
Huh.
I don't know what it is. It's horrible.
Okay.
They do other shows like Stargate SG-1 like that, and I don't know why.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, doesn't look right.
It don't look right on TV. They've been showing The Outer Limits, and I've started recording a bunch of old Outer Limits because I was looking for a couple episodes I remembered. And by the way, I found it. It's on my DVR. The one where they take the DNA of Jesus off the shroud and clone the little goofy Jesus clone thing. I actually found that episode, and I have it on my DVR. Expect a video about it, Tug.
So you're talking the 19 turn of the century-ish Canadian Outer Limits, then, correct?
I'm not sure. Just
it's not it can't be the original Outer Limits because I just recently watched the entire thing and it wasn't there.
There was a Canadian version around the turn of the century.
Yeah,
they had the Dead Man's Switch, which I think is one of the best examples of science fiction.
My real question is, did it come out after 1998? Because in 1998,
1999 season 5 episode of The Outer Limits.
Yeah, they stole that idea from me then, because in 1998 I was working on a script called Jurassic Christ, which was about cloning Jesus from the Shroud of Turin. So they stole it from me. They read mine, obviously.
It's a good idea.
Mine was obviously supposed to be a comedy, but
And the name of the episode is The Shroud. In case you want to look it
up. Again, that idea of like simultaneous evolution, like there's a word for that and I can't quite come up with it. It's what causes twin films where like two movies come out.
It's a really great tie-in real quick on this TV show that come out called Preacher, where they do the same thing and he comes out to be a mentally disabled Jesus. Check this out, it's hilarious.
That sounds wrong.
This show called Preacher is wrong on every level. You can
We need more wrong things in the world.
You should check out the TV series called Preacher. Everybody should if you can get a chance, and you won't regret it, but you probably won't tell nobody about it.
You might regret it.
In Slasher Fred, there were so many Die Hard ripoffs. Where do you want to begin? Speaking about Bruce Willis, I don't remember whose turn it was, but we're pretty much out of time anyway. So Thrash, go ahead and plug your show for tonight.
Yes, I am doing a solo project tonight, by the way, and I will have my long-awaited, long-promised UFO Space 1999 trivia.
Ooh.
Feel free to make that the theme of tonight, but we can do other short-lived science fiction TV shows as well. That's always fun. The more obscure, the better. But I will be going on tonight at 7.
Nice. Chance and Sarah will have a advantage in the quiz. Let's see. For me, speaking of hard sci-fi, I've got a video on 2001 that I had to remaster for copyright reasons. That'll be coming out in about half an hour. I got the copyright dispute literally a few days ago. But because 2001, my video on 2001 is one of my favorite videos I ever did, I immediately made a copyright-free version. So that'll drop today. And then next week I should have my video on Howard the Duck. For channel members and Patreons, that video should drop in the next, 2 days probably. I got to finish editing it. And you can always see me on Thursday on Sarah's streams, Saturdays on BBB streams, and I'll be back here next Sunday. We will be talking about post-apocalyptic movies, which is kind of running along the same themes of some of the things we talked about tonight.
But I don't know any post-apocalyptic movies.
This is the first time I'm actually reusing a topic. This is a topic we've covered before. We're going to talk about it again. Because why not? I love talking about post-apocalyptic movies. I can talk about them all day long. So,
will you give us a list of the ones we've already talked about so we can try to have some originality?
I can try to go back and find out what we talked about before. Sure.
We can always revisit. We always find some. Anytime we talk about something we've already talked about, we find some new angle on it.
Yeah. I'm going to try to bring back. I'm going to try to bring Zach back on my channel for next week or the week after, so that because he's kind of a survivalist guy, so he has a lot of thoughts on these kinds of movies. So
Z is for Zachariah.
yeah, true. But anyway, Dan, do you have anything to plug at all?
Yeah. This weekend I put up 2 really good short videos, 10 or 11 minutes, and a recapping some of my really interesting investigations where I was out looking for signs of the legendary Bigfoot. And everybody knows I'm a paranormal investigator, a cryptozoologist in my spare time. I have been out on many investigations, and the 2 videos I put up this weekend kind of show some of the best evidence that I've seen, including where I actually caught something weird on camera. You can check that out and pause it. And I got a still shot at the end where there's something standing there and I don't know what it was, and it moved. And it's really big, it's really hairy, but I think I don't know, like a damn werewolf to me. And I also put up the video where I found the giant footprints that look like Frankenstein made them in the woods. And both them videos are up on the Daily Dan blog if y'all want to check them out. One just come out today. And I also want to say, and I waited to the end of the show to bring this up because it made me kind of tear up, and it made me really sad that this week, for the cryptozoology people who's into the paranormal world, a fellow named Jeff Meldrum, who wrote this really cool book about Bigfoot, and his name's Dr. Jeff Meldrum. He was come out with a lot of the footprint research in the paranormal Bigfoot community. He passed away this week, and it's really hit hard with a lot of people in our community, and I'm really sad about that. So if anybody wants to check out his book, order Sasquatch Legend Meets Science by Jeff Meldrum, and it'll be a little way to remember the guy, because the book compilates all his best research about the legendary creature.
Okay. Yeah.
In the future, we should definitely do a whole show where we talk about Bigfoot movies.
Yeah, I can do that.
I got hundreds of them we can talk about.
I'll talk about ape.
I have sufficient. Awesome.
I've seen a few. So yeah, we could do that. I'll put that on the list.
Good, believe it or not.
What?
Most of them crap, but some of them are actually good.
There are a couple of good ones. I'll give you that. But yeah, most of the ones I've seen are not good, but I'd still talk about them.
A couple of them is really, one of them, the one I've seen most recently where Bigfoot takes a poop on the road, is hilarious. Sasquatch Sunset or something.
Okay.
It's hilarious, man. You'll die for this movie.
Sounds like a 60s musical.
Anyway, I've got to go. I got to go to IKEA. So I will see you guys later. Yeah, I guess I don't forget to keep Tim in your thoughts and prayers and all that. And hug your loved ones close, because it's been a rough week for a lot of people, and we need to be nicer to each other. That's all.
Or at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you and good night.
What an epic ending.
That was funny, Dan.